Well, you know, time heals many wounds, and just in the lifetime that I've had in the 20th century, Italy was with us in World War One and against us in World War Two. Japan was with us in World War One and against World War Two. We were against the Germans. Now the Germans are our friends, and so on. So I look at Taiwan, and I remember 1949. There was so much bitterness. There was bitterness both, not only between Mao's forces and the Kuomintang, but also when the Kuomintang and Chiang's people moved into Taiwan, the Chinese who had lived in Taiwan a long time didn't like that because the Kuomintang was sort of taking over Taiwan. Now I think it's inevitable. You look at what has happened in Hong Kong. You look at the fact that China has reacquired Macau from the Dutch and so on. And I've felt like Taiwan is going to be part of China, a provincial island off the coast of China, sooner or later. I don't know when. But the old people who were so bitter are dead and gone for the most part. And these things change. And you look at that with what has happened in Germany, and in this country, between the British and the Americans were obviously enemies when we were the Taiwan of the British back in the 18th century, and now we're the closest of friends. So I think that Taiwan, 50 years from now, will be a province of China and an island province, and history will be history. But I am not current, of course, because I don't read newspapers even in this country because I can't read. But I think that they're going to move in that direction. It'll make more sense in the long run in Taiwan, with China is going to be the leading economy in the world within 10 years. And I think to be part of that huge Chinese economy will benefit the people in Taiwan in the long run. That's my opinion, but I'm not well informed about it.
Yeah, the president of Taiwan argued about the united with mainland. Her main arguments were like because China does not have any freedom, and Taiwan people need freedom. They want their own choice. Of course, you mentioned the economy, but China has a big problem in the economy now. We're not sure if 10 years later, if it is really, the economy stronger than now or weaker than now. So if, the Taiwan will lose freedom, you think, and also, if China use military attack Taiwan, kill millions of people, you think U.S. should intervene or not?
Well, if you live in Taiwan, obviously you're very sensitive to what the relationship is between China and Hong Kong. What has happened in the last part of the last century when the British signed that 10-year agreement. And by the time that the year 2000 came along, that had come into being and Hong Kong had become part of China again. And I think that the people in Taiwan are very sensitive to that path of history. And you have a huge neighbor and a powerful neighbor. And as I read the tea leaves on the economy, I think that the economy of China is going to be preeminent. I think this country is doing a lot of stupid things right now. It's not helping itself for the future. And so I think that if you look at what is probably going to happen, I think 50 years from now, I would expect that Taiwan would be an integrated part of China. Hong Kong would be an integrated part of China, and Macau, and so on. All the things, and hopefully not the islands in the Southwest Pacific.
Yeah, I believe 50 years later, most likely will be united. But I mean, now, you think it's good to be united now, or?
Do I think what?
to be united now. I mean, use the China policy. You know what's going on in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
When they say one country, two systems, but Hong Kong is changing now. They don't, they try to remove those freedom from Hong Kong.
Well,
that's why make Taiwan people afraid of.
you have to always be aware of the fact that China is a large military power, and Hong Kong is not, and Taiwan is not. And the power of China, at one time, China had 40 divisions along the 2,000-mile border between China and Russia. But those divisions were no threat to the United States because they were on foot for the most part. They didn't even have motor vehicles. And China is not strong in aviation and naval power compared to the United States, for example. But it is very strong in manpower, and places that are within reach, like Macau and Hong Kong and Taiwan, come under that umbrella of power that exists on the mainland of China.
All right, great. Thank you.
Drive careful.